I found myself standing in the middle of a bridal boutique, holding a clipboard full of flower arrangements, when my sister asked me to be her maid of honor. I said yes, because how else do you say no to the person whose secret you've been protecting for 6 years? Whose child you've been raising like your own? Whose fiancé didn't know he already had a daughter? My name's Daniel. I'm 31 years old. And until about 3 months ago, I thought I was doing a pretty good job at juggling the mess my sister left behind. No legal papers, no custody rights, just trust and a promise I made the night she left, the daycare runs, the homework help, the late-night nightmares that left a 5-year-old girl sobbing in my arms. But life has a way of cornering you, of making you choose between the truth you owe yourself and the loyalty you owe the people you love. And sometimes, you make the wrong choice just a little longer than you should. Her name's Mia. She's 6 now, stubborn, brilliant, and carrying a fire in her chest she doesn't even know how to control yet. She moved across the country, had the baby, tried to raise her for a while, but when the postpartum depression hit like a freight train and she couldn't even look at Mia without crying, she left her with me just for a while. She calls me Uncle Danny. She thinks her mom works far away, and she doesn't know that the man my sister is about to marry is her father. The first time I met Owen, the fiancé, I hated him for how good he was. Kind. Steady. The kind of man who leaned in when Mia spoke, who noticed when she needed help reaching the crayons, who laughed like he meant it. He would have been a good dad. Hell, he was a good dad, he just didn't know it. And the worst part? Neither did Mia. She only knew him as Mommy's friend. Because that's how Claire, my sister, had spun it. A friend. An old friend from college she reconnected with. A spark reignited. A fairy tale written without footnotes or disclosures. And me? I held my tongue. Held the secret. Held the weight. Because Claire begged me to. Because 6 years ago, when she found out she was pregnant, she panicked. She left Owen without a word. Told me it was better that way, that she couldn't be tied down, that he deserved someone braver. She moved across the country. Had the baby. And when the postpartum depression hit like a freight train and she couldn't even look at Mia without crying, she left her with me just for a while. Just until I figure things out, she said. Weeks turned into months. Months into years. And somewhere along the way, Mia stopped being hers and started being ours, but mostly mine. Claire visited sometimes. Phone calls. Birthday cards. A few awkward weekends where she tried to fit into a role she didn't know how to wear anymore. But it was never enough. And now? Now she was marrying Owen. Like she could build a new life without telling him that the best part of his old one was already here, already breathing, already waiting for a father she didn't even know she was missing. I sat in the bridal boutique, clutching that clipboard, feeling like my ribs were caving in. Claire twirled in front of the mirror, giddy and flushed, tulle and satin swirling around her ankles. You'll do it, right? She said. I sparkling. You'll stand up there with me? I smiled. Nodded. Lied. Because what was I supposed to say? No, Claire. I can't. Not while I'm carrying your secret in my pocket like a loaded gun. She hugged me, and for a second, I almost felt it. The way we used to be. Before all the lies. Before all the cracks. But it slipped away as fast as it came. Because the thing about carrying someone else's secrets is, eventually, they get too heavy to hold. That night, after Mia fell asleep, tangled in pink blankets, her thumb still tucked stubbornly into her mouth, I sat at the kitchen table and stared at my reflection in the dark window. What was I doing? What kind of man signs up to stand next to his sister while she says vows to the man she abandoned? The man she lied to. The man she stole a daughter from. I poured a glass of whiskey. Didn't drink it. Just sat there, feeling the weight of every choice I hadn't made but still had to answer for. Somewhere in the other room, Mia murmured in her sleep, a soft, broken sound that cracked right down the middle of me. And in that moment, I knew. This secret couldn't stay hidden forever. Not if I wanted to look Mia in the eye when she got old enough to ask real questions. Not if I wanted to look myself in the mirror tomorrow. The truth was coming. Whether Claire was ready or not. Whether Owen was ready or not. Whether I was ready or not. And when it did, there wouldn't be enough satin or champagne in the world to stitch the pieces back together. The thing about secrets is, they don't rot quietly. They throb. They swell. Until one day they burst at the seams, and you either ride the wreckage or get buried under it. For the next 2 weeks, I tried to pretend everything was normal. Tried to smile at cake tastings. Tried to nod through endless talks about flower walls and choreographed dances. Tried to laugh when Claire joked about how easy it was all falling into place. But underneath it, the guilt gnawed like termites in the foundation. Every time Owen bent down to tie Mia's shoes. Every time he complimented her drawings and taped them to the fridge without thinking twice. Every time he offered to babysit so I could have a night off, not knowing he was caring for his own daughter. It burned. It hollowed me out. And Mia, sweet, sharp little Mia, she just kept loving him louder. She'd wait by the door when she knew he was coming over. She'd save him the biggest cookie from the batch we baked. She'd tug his hand during story time, dragging him into the world she built from crayon castles and cardboard pirate ships. She didn't know. She couldn't know. But some part of her, that deep, ancient part of kids that feels what adults refuse to say out loud, knew. She knew he was hers. And he had no idea. I tried to talk to Claire once. Tried to open the door without ripping it clean off the hinges. We were sitting on the back porch, 2 beers, a bag of pretzels between us, the sky bleeding pink at the edges. You ever think about? I started, staring hard at the chipped paint on the railings. About what? I swallowed. About telling him? She stiffened. Didn't even try to play dumb. Her fingers twisted the label off her beer bottle, one slow strip at a time. It's too late, she said finally, voice flat. It's not, I said. It's never too late to do the right thing. She laughed, short and bitter. You think he'll forgive me, Danny? You think he'll marry me if he knows I ran off pregnant and never said a damn word? She shook her head, staring out into the creeping twilight. I built something with him, she said. From scratch. I can't tear it down now. You didn't build it, I said quietly. You borrowed it. She flinched. Good. Maybe she needed to hurt a little. Because the hurt was already here, it was already growing roots in Mia's heart. Claire pressed the heels of her hands against her eyes. I can't, she whispered. I can't lose him. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw the girl I grew up with. The girl who always wanted everything to be perfect, even if it meant papering over the cracks. And for the first time, I realized something. Claire didn't lie because she hated Owen. She lied because she loved him, but she loved the version of herself he knew more. The clean, unburdened version. The lie wasn't about him. It was about her. It always had been. That night, after she left, I sat at the kitchen table again, Mia curled up asleep upstairs, and wrote 2 letters. One to Owen, one to Mia. I didn't send them. I didn't even seal them. But I wrote them because I had to know what the truth would sound like if I ever found the courage to speak it. Owen's letter was short. You deserve to know the life you already built. You deserve to choose it fully, not under false lights. Mia's was longer. Messier. Full of half-finished sentences and crossed-out words. You were loved. You were wanted. You were never a mistake. When I finished, the clock read 2:34 a.m. The house was silent. The kind of silence that feels heavy, like it knows what's coming. I left the letters on the table, stared at them until my eyes burned. And I made a decision. If Claire didn't tell him before the wedding, I would. I wasn't going to let Mia grow up thinking she was a secret shame. I wasn't going to let Owen stand at that altar, promising a forever built on sand. I wasn't going to carry this for Claire anymore. The choice was hers. For now. But the clock was ticking. And when the final hour struck, the truth was coming. Whether anyone was ready or not. 5 days before the wedding, Claire showed up unannounced at my apartment. No warning. No smile. Just her standing in the doorway with eyes that looked like they hadn't slept and a voice that was already halfway broken. I think Mia knows. I paused mid-laundry, a basket of tiny socks and mismatched pajamas in my hands. What do you mean she knows? Claire stepped inside like she didn't trust her legs to keep her upright. She dropped onto the couch, staring blankly at the wall, her fingers worrying the hem of her shirt. She asked me if Owen was going to be her daddy. My heart sank. I set the basket down slowly. What did you say? She looked up, eyes wide and wet. I told her he's always going to be her friend. I exhaled through my nose, not quite a sigh, not quite a curse, and sat across from her. You're running out of ways to lie to her, I said quietly. Claire laughed, and it sounded like it hurt. What do I even say, Danny? Hey honey, sorry I disappeared and left you with your uncle for half a decade. But surprise, your dad's been at Thanksgiving dinner this whole time and just didn't know it. I didn't answer. Because there wasn't an answer that made it better. She leaned back, hands over her face. She's looking at him different now, Claire whispered. Like she's trying to connect the dots without knowing what the picture is. I didn't say it, but I was pretty sure Mia already had the picture. She just didn't know what to call it yet. That night, after Claire left, I sat with Mia at the kitchen table coloring. I didn't push, didn't ask, just let her draw. She was working on a picture of the three of us, me, her, and Owen, holding hands under a crooked rainbow. Her tiny tongue peeked out between her teeth in concentration. Do you like Owen? I asked, careful to keep it light. She nodded. He's nice. He reads funny. He does, I said. You like when he visits? Another nod. Then a pause. I wish he lived here, she said. The words came out so quietly, they nearly broke me. I swallowed hard. Do you ever wonder if he's more than just a friend? Mia looked up at me, her big brown eyes impossibly serious. I thought maybe, she said. But Mommy said no. I nodded, heart cracking in two. She went back to coloring, like the conversation hadn't just carved out a hole in my chest. 3 days out, the rehearsal dinner happened. Everyone dressed up. Toasts were made. Owen's mom cried. Claire beamed. And Mia? She wore a white dress and sat in Owen's lap the whole evening, like she was already part of something no one had the nerve to name. People kept commenting. Wow, she looks so much like you, Claire. Are you sure she's not yours, Owen? Owen laughed it off, good-natured as ever. Claire tensed every time. After dinner, I caught Owen outside, leaning against a railing, sipping a beer and staring out at the parking lot like it might offer him answers. You good? I asked. He nodded, then hesitated. She called me Dad today. The world tilted for a second. I tried to keep my face neutral. She didn't mean anything by it, he added quickly. She caught herself. Said sorry. He looked at me. But it didn't feel wrong. You know? I nodded slowly. Yeah, I know. He turned back to the horizon, thoughtful. Sometimes I think, maybe I missed something. And there it was. A crack in the door. He felt it. Even if he couldn't name it yet. The blood bond. The familiarity. The way Mia looked at him like she was waiting for something to fall into place. I almost told him then. Almost opened my mouth and ripped the veil down right there under the stars. But I didn't. Because I'd given Claire time. And because I was still holding on to the shred of hope that she'd do the right thing before I had to. 2 days out, Claire called me. Mid-afternoon. No greeting. Just 3 words. I can't do it. I paused. You mean tell him? No. I mean the wedding. My heart kicked hard. I want to, she said, her voice barely audible. God, I want to. But I keep looking at him and wondering when he'll look at me and realize I'm a liar. I waited. Let her sit in that silence. You still love him? I asked. More than I ever thought I could love anyone. Then tell him. Tell him everything. Let him love all of it, or walk away from all of it, but give him the truth. She sniffled. I'm scared. So is he, I said. He just doesn't know why yet. She didn't answer. But I heard the shift in her breath, the kind of breath that means you've hit the point of no return. When she hung up, I didn't know what she was going to do. But I knew this. If she didn't tell him before the ceremony started, I would. The morning of the wedding, the world felt brittle, too bright, too quiet, like the universe was holding its breath, waiting to see which way everything was going to crack. I woke up early. Mia was already up, sitting at the kitchen table in her pajamas, coloring another picture. This one was a family, 2 adults, a little girl between them. She didn't ask about the wedding, didn't ask why I looked like I hadn't slept, just handed me a crayon and smiled. Help me, she said. I sat down. Picked up the red crayon, colored the heart over the family's heads. I wanted to freeze the moment, wanted to protect her from what I knew was coming. But the clock kept moving anyway. At the church, everything looked perfect. Flowers everywhere. Soft music playing. Guests filing in, smiling, whispering. Claire was in the bridal suite, veil pinned perfectly, makeup flawless. She caught my eye as I walked in. And I knew. She wasn't going to tell him. Not before the ceremony. Not at all. She smiled, brittle and desperate, and said, You're still walking me down the aisle, right? My throat tightened. Because no matter what she'd done, no matter what she'd hidden, she was still my sister. Still the girl who used to braid my hair while we watched cartoons. Still the kid who defended me at recess when older boys called me names. I nodded. Yeah, I said. I'm here. But inside? Inside I knew it was almost time to break everything. Because I couldn't let her say, I do, while Owen stood there believing a life that wasn't real. 15 minutes to showtime, I found Owen outside the side entrance. He was alone, jacket off, tie hanging loose, fidgeting with his cufflinks. Nervous. Happy. Hopeful. God, he looked so damn happy. It nearly broke me. You ready? I asked. He grinned. As ready as I'll ever be. I took a breath. Steady. Final. There's something you need to know before you marry her. He blinked. The grin faltered. I saw the fear creep in slow and quiet, like water under a door. What is it? He asked. I swallowed hard, then said it. Mia's not just her niece. He stared at me, uncomprehending. I forced the next words out, low and even. She's your daughter, Owen. The silence hit so hard I could hear the birds outside stop singing. His mouth opened, closed. He shook his head, like he could knock the words out of his ears. No, he said hoarsely. No, that's not she would have told me. She was pregnant when she left you, I said. She was scared. She thought you deserved better. She thought she wasn't enough. He backed up a step, hands out like he needed something to hold on to but couldn't find it. How long have you known? He whispered. Since Mia was born, I said. He covered his face with both hands, staggered toward the wall like he needed it to stay standing. I didn't move, didn't say anything, just stood there, letting him process it, letting the truth finally breathe after all these years. Finally, Owen dropped his hands. His face was a war zone, shock, betrayal, heartbreak battling it out under his skin. I have a daughter, he said softly, like he didn't believe it even as he said it. I nodded. She loves you, I said. She doesn't know why, but she knows you. Tears filled his eyes, fast and hot. I missed everything, he said, voice breaking. You didn't, I said. You're here now. You still can be. He looked past me, toward the church, toward Claire, toward the altar waiting for him. And I saw the question in his eyes. Can love survive this? Should it? Does it deserve to? I didn't answer. It wasn't my question to answer. It was his. Owen straightened, wiped his face, took a shuddering breath. I need to see her, he said. I nodded once. Go. He squared his shoulders, walked back inside. And I stood there, heart pounding, knowing that whatever happened next, wedding or no wedding, nothing was ever going to be the same again. I waited by the side door, hands in my pockets, while inside the church, the life Claire had built, the life she tried so desperately to protect, came apart at the seams. I heard raised voices, not shouting. Worse, that low, sharp tone you only use when you're trying not to break completely in front of strangers. I didn't move, didn't listen too close. Some things, even when you cause them, you don't have the right to witness. 15 minutes passed, maybe 20, and then the doors opened. Claire came out first, veil half off, bouquet abandoned somewhere behind her. She didn't look at me, didn't say a word, just brushed past, face pale and set, like she was walking underwater. Owen followed a few steps behind. Tie gone, jacket slung over one shoulder, eyes red-rimmed but dry. He didn't look at me either, didn't have to. The silence between us said enough. The wedding was called off, politely, publicly. A quiet announcement made over the church sound system about unforeseen circumstances. Guests shuffled out, murmuring. Some confused, some sympathetic, some already piecing the gossip together like vultures scenting blood. Mom found me outside later, after the worst of the exodus had cleared. She didn't yell, didn't ask why. She just hugged me hard and fierce, and said, "You did the right thing." I didn't feel like it at the time. I felt like I'd burned down a house we all lived in. That night, Mia fell asleep curled against my side on the couch, clutching her stuffed bear. She didn't know the whole story. Not yet. Claire hadn't told her. I didn't push. One earthquake at a time. But I knew the conversation was coming. Sooner than we wanted. Because once the first truth cracks the surface, the others follow. They always do. 3 days later, Owen showed up at my apartment. No call. No warning. Just a knock at the door that made my stomach lurch. When I opened it, he stood there, a paper bag of groceries in one hand, a stuffed rabbit clutched awkwardly in the other. For Mia, he said. I stepped aside to let him in. He didn't ask for permission. Just set the bag on the kitchen counter and the rabbit on the coffee table. Then he turned to me. I'm not mad at you, he said. I swallowed, throat tight. You have every right to be. He shook his head. Claire made her choices. You cleaned up after them. He raked a hand through his hair. I just wish. God, I just wish I knew sooner. I nodded. Because there was nothing else to say. Nothing that would fix it. Nothing that would undo the time lost. She's your daughter, Owen, I said, voice low. No matter what Claire did. No matter how long it took to get here. He blinked hard. I don't know how to be a dad, he whispered. I smiled, a small, broken thing. Neither did I said. You figure it out. He laughed, a sharp, wet sound, and wiped his eyes with the heel of his hand. I want to be in her life, he said. If you'll let me. My chest ached, like a wound finally starting to scab over. You're already in it, I said. You just didn't know. He nodded slowly. Can I meet her properly? I looked toward the hallway where Mia was still napping, sunlight slanting across her bedroom door. Yeah, I said. You can. He sat down on the couch, hands trembling just slightly. Waited. No demands. No expectations. Just a man who lost something he didn't even know he had, and was finally brave enough to fight for it. And me? I sat down across from him, the weight of the past 6 years pressing heavy on my shoulders. But for the first time in a long time, it felt like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't carrying it alone anymore. Mia woke up groggy, her hair sticking out in all directions like a halo of static. She padded into the living room, dragging her blanket behind her, and blinked at Owen sitting there like she wasn't sure if she was still dreaming. He smiled, small, unsure, and held out the stuffed rabbit. Hey, kiddo, he said softly. Got something for you. She hesitated, looked at me. I nodded. It was okay. Mia shuffled closer, took the rabbit from his outstretched hand, and clutched it tight to her chest. Thank you, she said in a small voice. Owen's eyes filled, but he blinked the tears back, keeping his voice steady. You're welcome. Silence settled. Not heavy, not awkward. Just new. Mia climbed up onto the couch next to him, legs swinging, blanket puddled around her. Owen looked at me across the room, eyes asking a question he didn't have words for yet. I gave him the smallest nod. Go ahead. He turned back to Mia. You know, he said, voice low and careful. I've always thought you were pretty special. She smiled shyly, hugging the rabbit tighter. And I was wondering, he continued, if you'd maybe want me to be around a little more. If that's okay with you. Mia considered this very seriously, like she was weighing some grand and important decision. Finally, she nodded. Okay, she said. Simple. Certain. And just like that, something shifted, a weight lifting from the room, from my chest, from the 6 years of tangled mess and missed chances. Later that night, after Mia went back to sleep, Owen and I sat out on the porch. 2 beers. 2 exhausted men trying to figure out what came next. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, he said. Nobody does, I answered. You just show up. You try. You don't quit. He nodded, staring out at the quiet street. I want to be her dad, he said. Really be her dad. You can be, I said. But it's going to take time. She's used to things the way they are. I'll wait, he said. I'll wait as long as it takes. I looked at him then. This man who had every reason to walk away, every excuse to disappear, and I realized something. Maybe love isn't measured in how fast you show up. Maybe it's measured in how long you're willing to stay. Claire called a few days later. Said she was moving. Not far. Just enough distance to figure herself out without dragging Mia into it again. She cried on the phone. Real tears this time, not the performative kind. Told me she was sorry. Told me she loved us. I believed her. But love, like anything else, needs more than words. It needs work. It needs showing up. And right now, Claire needed to learn how to do that on her own. Over the next few months, we built something. Not perfect, not easy, but real. Owen came by 3 nights a week. Dinners, homework, movie nights where Mia would crawl into his lap without thinking twice. They built a routine. They built trust. They built something no one, not even Claire's fear, not even 6 years of silence, could undo. And me? I didn't lose Mia. She didn't stop needing me. But now she didn't have to choose between the man who raised her and the man who gave her his eyes and his stubborn streak. She had both. She had all of us. One night, about 6 months later, Mia was coloring at the kitchen table again. Same rainbow. Same crooked family. But this time, there were 3 people under it. And this time, she labeled them carefully. Dad, Uncle Danny, me. I sat down across from her, blinking hard against the sting in my eyes. You did good, she said, looking up at me with that simple, devastating wisdom kids have. And maybe, finally, I believed it. We did good. We built something out of the broken pieces. Something better. Something real. And for the first time in a long time, it didn't feel like I was holding a secret. It felt like I was holding a future. One small hand at a time.